right now.
Lift your hands right now to
And say,
God.
Lord, I receive your rest,
Say, Lord, I receive your blessing
not
today.
the world's rest, but the peace that passes all understanding. Let it settle in your spirit. Let it still your mind. I remember when the pressure tried to push me to the ground. Through the chaos, child, my grace is all around. Now I'm learning to be still, and to know that you are. Every anxious thought surrenders to the peace that you have brought, and I feel the wave of your spirit rolling over every part of me. This is more than just a moment. This is where I'm meant to be. I found my peace in the quiet water. My soul is still. My mind is free. You are the calm that never leaves me. Eric, what's going on with your shoulder? Man, Doc, so I've been feeling some weird pains, man. I've been printing a bunch of shirts lately, and for some reason,
Thank you. Peace.
you restore my soul again. Beside the still water, and I will follow you till the end. You lead me. You lead me. Father, we thank you for this moment, for the stillness that only you can give. Every worry, every fear, every thought that fights us.
Only
Fill us
you.
now with your perfect rest. Let your quiet waters wash over us. In Jesus' name. I found my peace in the quiet waters. My soul is still. My mind is free. You are the calm that never leaves me. Your love is all I'll ever need. Quiet waters, flow, flow over me. You are my peace, you are my peace. I will rest in you, I will rest in you. His peace is enough, His peace is enough. Lift your hands right now. Can you feel it? The goodness of God is not just for you, it's through you. He's filling you up today so you can be a blessing to somebody else. Receive it now.
Okay. Good morning. I just found out that I'm watching right now the debate. I did not know that there is a second debate. Biba Ralph, Biba Jones, and Biba Cinema Republican Party. Dan pada todi kandidatun Republican Party ni man malalagta kandidatun Republican Party. Biba Ralph and Biba Jones para siya walon da papasin publiko na maladata bota si Ralph dan si Jones dan todo partidan Republican Party di ba atukas ti papu ni hafa governmentanti de bino maatan do umalegla Piodesti kandidatun Republican Party mayor Biba si Kelly jo alegla pago afa problema in Northern Ireland sa timazuzuda lay itauto si Jordan gi papa da sempi bichagi magan pago da be kambe si Jordan afa da be kodong ngayon si governor
Jones Jr., to have our economy work for our people, our students, the retirees.
kaya nala tul tambay da ta ekungo kesti debate.
Hafidays and Tiro, welcome to the 2026 gubernatorial debate hosted by Mariana Express. I'm Tomas Maconia, founder of MP and moderator for this debate. This debate is being recorded on August 18 at Pacific Islands Club Saipan. We have a live audience with supporters from each. Most of our questions tonight are from you, our viewers. We received various questions on our online survey in the past few weeks. And this is just one of many forums before our
Anna missed
election,
this survey.
and we hope to cover a wide range of topics. So let's begin. Before we started, the candidates chose randomly their speaking order. We will now go into candidate introductions. You each have 4 minutes to introduce yourself. And first up is
Hold on. Aji kontra muli debate. Good morning, James Castro. Good morning. How's your morning today? I have to stop the music for a while and listen kung unayon i-debate ni ma-host gas Tomas Banglonia za tugatsa lay ji idonya question gumatsa idonya si Tomas question ni mamamaisin para ufandrokoy question ni pero ufaisin istipago kandidato ni gubernatoro na kandidato gi debate da undato ta da bi aleglas ti izota live stream live jo pago na ora gi za TikTok para bi complaci familian TikTok aji man mafot aji malago batu pero ko ni familian ibla dispensado sa pago mamamantado sa pagkahulo din sa 7 o'clock da bipega i-debate gi zoku live stream gi stream da tana bonito performance para gola sti i-debate istigi i-zoku honest opinion itodo tres ben da pama office si Tomas Manglonia ni Guiza Munawasti Maranas Press. Para gode itaja mas qualificado da guazonya experiencia gibandan mas takilo na oficina is si former Governor Ralph Torres. Esti dos si ataw dyan si Kamatsu pago matagis na kinalamtin experience question basta si former governor tinebugi tagwini na klasin debate atungo sta afa kinalamtin tanota na tungo naman mamadidesit esti idos ikonturunya si Kamatsu dan si atau tada timingonya sti dos dapat problema nita gwini ta and that's my honest opinion. No, hold on. Para todo santo ni naman di CCB Adudun manamko, pos pwede manamko ki pag depende ki kinalabti ni federal. Sa ito, biabang wini, dosen bibirazo antes uutsun pagunani, para takon mangantus talo. Sa pwede manamko pago, lagonya si manamko. Jagi mo agan si Jordan.
Half a day in Tiro. Welcome to the 2026 gubernatorial debate hosted by Mariana Express.
Okay.
I'm Tomas Colonia, founder of MP 4 Minute and moderator for this debate. This debate is being recorded on August 10 at Pacific Islands Club Saipan. We have a live audience with supporters from each camp. Most of our questions tonight are from you, our viewers. We received various questions on our online survey in the past few weeks, and this is just one of many forums before our election, and we hope to cover a wide range of topics. So let's begin.
Let's begin.
Before we started, the candidates and leaders in order introductions. You each have 4 minutes to introduce yourself. And first up is
Sige, YouTube.
Buenas update to Wami and Wuhan. I am Lawrence Farron Camacho, a farmer, a war veteran, a retired military officer, and educator. And I am running with Ms. Edith Guerrero to be your next governor and lieutenant governor because we care. Commonwealth, we care about the livelihood of our people. We care about the Commonwealth's future.
Okay. Sorry for that. I'm having difficulties with. I don't know if we will go ahead.
Buenas update to Wami and Wuhan. I am Lawrence Farron Camacho, a farmer, a war veteran, a retired military officer, and educator. And I am running with Ms. Edith Governor and Lieutenant Governor because we care. We care about the direction of our Commonwealth. We care about the livelihood of our people. We care about the Commonwealth's future. That caused us to be in this situation. That mismanaged public funds and failed to create opportunities for this government. We have the same leadership that made us temporarily feel good. We cannot have the same leadership that failed to be strong at the table when dealing with outside influences or when dealing with federal government. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a logical solution to this, though. The Camacho that will be accountable, that will be filled with integrity and full of passion and caring for the families to be helped. We fight for your vote every single day because we want our communities in Luta, Tinian, Saipan, and the Northern Islands to thrive and together build a future worth staying for. We will build opportunities so folks who left the CNMI can then be convinced to return home because this is their home so that they can also thrive here. Although we have a 90-day plan, we have already started working with ways to figure out and solve these problems and deal with infrastructure like utilities, healthcare, retirement, education, and public safety. The future of the Commonwealth starts with a clear vision and commitment to action. Our campaign is built on practical priorities and focus on strengthening our island, supporting our people, and creating opportunities. Our core principles protect working families, create long-term career pathways for local residents, strengthen agriculture.
We will watch first the debate before we continue further with our discussion about the Northern Island.
Approach and retain local talent, reduce long-term migration of our people. Together we can build a stronger, more resilient city mind. Together we can build a future worth staying for. Thank you so much. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat po.
And greetings, Dr. Mariana. But this is what my brother Jesse told me one cold morning in Boise when our parents were boarding their flight back home. That's when I realized we were on our own. He looked down on me and he said, everyone's treated the same.
What the hell?
He took care of us
Trata?
was just.
Is he pronouncing
He
that
was fair.
correctly? I don't.
He was responsible.
Trata?
That's what a voice for all means to me and my running mate, Edmund Joseph Sabila Gomez. Everyone gets to be heard. Everyone has a seat at the table, and everyone has a voice. A transparent voice, a fundamental voice, a responsible voice, and a decisive voice. A transparent voice means your government does not lie accountable. Edmund and I build reputations as legislators.
That's all.
grounded on
That's all you did
transparency,
is build reputation in the office.
and ethics.
That's all.
A fundamental voice means taking care of the needs and not the wants. Good hospital, a good educational system, a good public safety, a good retirement. A responsible voice means making every decision we make is for opportunities for those who come back home, not to disappointment. Every decision we make is for you and not a few. A decisive voice means leaders don't seek problems or blame. They seek solutions and act on them. There will be tough choices ahead, but Edmund and I will make principled decisions to benefit the people of the Commonwealth. The Acta Villagomez administration will be transparent, will be fundamental, will be responsible, and will be a decisive voice for all. No matter your village, your party, your age, your occupation, or your background, you deserve to be heard. You deserve a seat at the table, and you deserve a voice. My name is Blanche Jonathan, and I'm running for governor of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. Joining me in this journey is my colleague, my friend, my lieutenant governor, Edmund Joseph Sabla.
Kung nakasabay ka to debate, I need to pick up.
Tonight, we hope to earn your trust, and we humbly ask for your support and your vote of confidence. At Villa Gomez, number 2 on the ballot, number 1 on the ballot. Masih, Gilisa, maraming salamat po, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ata. Mr. Torres, 4 minutes for your introduction.
He's nervous. And Kamatsu spoke English, Atal spoke English. None of their lady language is out.
Of the day, Jero,
Day.
good evening, everybody. This is the most consequential election, and get back up or continue to wait an election that the results of last election
Debate until this
to move
morning.
forward together. But what we are seeing today is that we are not moving forward. We are sinking.
We are thinking.
If you want to see the state of the Commonwealth today, look no further than Precinct 3. The jungle is growing back in Garapan. Businesses along Beach Road and Middle Road
You know,
have closed.
bisangan niyan
70%
so
of all
Steve debate
storefronts are
di
shuttered.
minaga gi ninepek
I
ko na.
find places like DFS
Thank you mas niya po Steve minagof mo ni puro nano ni puro na mandi itaw-tawta.
or
Yalo ni
Bar,
tres
on our
Ozzy
only movie
i kwalifikaw na
theater, closed down.
kandidato. Si Diyos
This might
base
be the
na ni
last
minagof mo. Maranas
National
Press.
Supply.
Lo pabinanga
The last
ista
offer was the
ifinako
reduction
gi
of PSS
estina
funding in
kwentus niya
2026 budget.
da
For
padi
years, they worked hard to put students
bisangan
first.
tagwini.
It hurts to see
Pwede.
that even our kids
Pwede
Our
uman
only hope for the future
fino
are affected by these
sinota
cuts.
ifino chamboro
It hurts to see
sa government
That our kids
pitante
stay
sti
home on a
okay
Monday
ifino
when they should
chamoro
be in school
ipara
learning. This
umakamplasi
is what happens
i
when
manamko
leadership does
mga
not know how to
makaon
grow.
ipanko giboran ipotasyon i manamko
If I'm
takilo gibandan politika man mambobota
we need to sell
da
into the
malago
future.
to na para biketungo hazi gitres
I won't say
atungo
anything
mandago
because it won't
ujung
be easy.
umalik na femino
We have
chamoro
done it before.
ni para
and we can do it
umaeko
again.
ni manamko
Please join me and my
Oto
partner,
kigini
Benjamin
usoda
Jones Jr.
gi
To have our
gastumas
economy
tata
work for
problema
our people.
gastumas.
Our students,
No
the
debistino
retirees,
manapara, da
and as our
debistino o
slogan
matutun
said,
o
join
ma
us in this journey
sigi ni
to
matsowi
revive the
mo na
Marianas.
ti makumpaplasi
Number 2 with the
iman
ballot.
udu wini.
Vote Republicans.
I Bakit? Di Republican
Section
sa
one, we'll now go into
no
our 11
inigi
questions.
malaguso no
The
gwati
format
na
goes
like
as
ka
follows.
maniluza
Each person will
mananawin.
have 2 minutes to answer the question.
Ki baba man
followed by
finu
a
English,
rebuttal.
lo
Each
debi ka no
round will show us your
makamplasi
speaking
iman
order, which
manam
will
ko
alternate
zan
and allow
iman
every
man
speaker
malamu
to
wini
vote
pero
at least
sisan
in one round
iman
for
udu.
the next 11 questions.
I don't
The
know
first
afa
question
na ko
will
makan
in
anyway.
order, speaker number 1, 2, and
Tatunga
3.
fa ko mekeluku maybe
Mr.
the
Concha,
best
that means we're starting with
cock.
you for the
Three
direct answer.
cock is
Question number 1. There's an apparent lack of trust in the Sinamay government. Recent audits or lack thereof point to major concerns. The Sinamay has a trust problem. People feel that leadership
Tataw.
Tomas, back to the original question, there's lost trust in government. There's lost trust in government because there's investigations that have happened over the last couple of years. And when those investigations were completed, they handed those documents to the Attorney General's office, the FBI's office, the Public Auditor's
Okay.
office. And in addition to that, those audit reports that did not come out is hampering our ability. But there's no action coming out from any way, any place that we've assisted in providing those documents. And there's no trust in our government at this time because we're moving with our recovery efforts based on the audit reports that are not coming out. The federal government's really looking at our expenditures because we don't have our audits up to date. That is our biggest challenge, and we want to get those books out so we can make sure those clean audits or questionable audits will be done moving forward.
Mr. George,
I'm glad Mr. Ato mentioned about investigation and FBI. No governor has been more scrutinized than myself.
That's
The
true.
FBI came in and they did raid my office.
Yes.
They raid
And
my-
they did not find
my
anything
home.
wrong.
But after 6 years of investigation, no charges was brought in by the FBI. For the charges that I got from the Attorney General, and I said, can you give me a guide on this? He looked at me and said, you do not have to respond. And that's the reason why I did not go to the legislature. Second, I asked the Attorney General about my first class travel. He looked at me and said, even OPA came out with a report that does not say that I violated anything. Yet, I listened to both advices from the Attorney General, and he ended up charging me. So yes, I see how things
This
are
is
happening, but I follow the law.
bias that has been done to Governor Torres.
Yeah, I believe it goes,
And that
the
is
question begs to
my
answer the question beyond
Nanya
the
pues
auditing piece, right? It's really a matter of trust.
si Ato
And how do
dan
we
si
then, as
Bilagong.
citizens, people can gain that trust back to the government? Or how can we gain people's trust to that government, this government of ours?
Decision mo no
You know,
piling.
I just want to say that you've been in there, you've seen it, and you know what it's like. And people distrust the government right now because where we are. And it starts because we financially distressed right now.
Okay, si Kamatsu atatak pa mo si former Governor Torres da tutungo si Kamatsu ko may ekunguk afa sinangan si former Torres po afa sinadania i sinamay government da dongkulon lastima por todo i sinamay government i dunya investigation. Pero si AG, si Attorney Manabusan, this one of this TV outlook, he's biased to some certain point, and I don't know if he's also prejudiced. Si Attorney Manabusan, lo the main thing here afa pabisangan niya amzu ni man kung TikTok, YouTube, and now Facebook. All those years and all those months that the Sinamay government put all the bullshit through Governor Torres, he make them they make the government put him to hell, in another word, and they end up coming out at the end, the FBI, that they did not find anything real solid evidence to charge him further because there is no crime committed. What happened to the investigation from the Sinamay government? Is it all waste of time? Did they just attack him? But Kamatsu is not listening here. He's just using the oportunidad ni poro una sebi hafa si former Governor Torres mabidanya itauto ni poro na fan manungi publiko esta Kamatsu ti mga duduki publiko. They know already what happened and they know already who's telling the truth, and you're just saying that for the part of the entertainment of the debate.
The economy is going down, so people just, and I lived it too. I lived being there as Commissioner of Education, where the executive department did not, or the executive branch did not fulfill anymore.
If I were the candidate here, I would turn around and I would blast this Dr. Kamatsu. Why did you quit? The word quit. Afan na pumaro, afan bola sa na definition. Kamatsu bola man manam ko gini kumekwentos po di desisyon mo. Sa iman manam ko mampus mampiniti gibanda ni Famagoon. Hafa na duty ifamagoon gitalolo. Posumudo mo later on the mamatino sa bulan mo excuse daw una na entalo Board of Education está atrasado lo idang kulong question ifinota afa na
information to the legislative branch, and then the legislative branch is telling me that they don't even have all the information. It is bad.
mampus tadi komentus nervous si Dr. Kamatsu.
That brings people together.
You can tell by his movement of his body. He acts.
Move on to our second question.
Si Ataw.
The right answer order is Mr. Ataw, Mr. Torres, and then Mr. Camacho. Our second question. The Sinamay has been struck by multiple disasters over a short period of time. Just before this debate, we heard that there might be another storm on the way as well. You can name them, Sudalor, Yusuf, and Laku Babi being the most recent ones. What investments will your administration make to better prepare the NMI for
Investment.
future disasters? Mr. Ataw, you can begin your 2 minutes.
Afa na kasi investment.
Harden our infrastructure. That's first and foremost. The fundamentals need to be provided to our people. One of the biggest legislations that we worked on as a rookie member of the legislature was to appropriate $500,000 to the Sinamay government so we can build a home for safety for our people rather than using the public school system buildings. Unfortunately, as a minority, you get voted down, so those monies were distributed to other obligations that they don't choose. Again, with CUC, we would need to make sure that we get CUC stabilized, but also make sure that CUC is responsible for using those funds so that they can have backup utility needs such as transformers and lines, harden the and work with other types of renewable energy that's going to be safe in a typhoon hidden area. In addition to that, we need to have a rainy day fund. Matter of fact, again, as a rookie member of the legislature, we reserve monies for rainy fund account. Unfortunately, again, as a minority, it was voted down because they had other obligations, and that obligation is to move the monies rather than to the retirees and to a rainy day fund. They used those monies and directed them to the
So you're not a fighter. You just gonna leave it as it is because they voted out. You just called myself.
The administration, when we propose a budget to the
You didn't do enough to continue your plan, so he just called it himself. According myself.
Mr. Torres, you have 2 minutes.
Good question. So Tomas, my administration has actually done that. Permanent homes here in the Sinamay. We got $300 million on EDA infrastructure. They did 3,000 concrete poles here in the Sinamay, $100 million on EDA. So yes, my administration has done it. I've done it in the past and I'll do it again. One of the most important
Good morning,
parts
Tan.
is having a relationship
Dispensado
with
sa
FEMA.
taga-mayon
And
sti
I
debate
do
di
have a
gobyerno
relationship
pa
with
ko
FEMA.
ini
In fact,
YouTube.
$94
Ang
million
lago
was
balon may
pledged
kat at
under
manguntos
CDL,
di
which is
po di
Community
debate.
Disaster Loan. So when you look around here today, look at the
Man
recovery that
ano
we have
opi
here.
pa ko si Kabanat Boris po di question ni mapapasingi apa tamano ni pero nahalon investment.
Here in the CNMI. Our goal with my partner is to build a new power plant because we do need a new power plant for Saipan, Rora, and Tina. And I'm happy that Congressman
Viva
DJ
TJ.
is saying about putting the rainy day funds, but the majority at the time decide to do that. Now that you're in the majority, do you have rainy day savings or perhaps a disaster funding? Because now you're in the leadership, and so have this reserve funding to do deficit spending for a disaster. And in my term, I got disaster. Sorry, Lord, my term, due to, and of course, the pandemic. Look at all of that. What I did is I saved money. I saved people's life.
Mr. Camacho, what investments will your administration make to better prepare the Sinamay?
Sure. Hardening infrastructure is obviously the critical thing to do. Making sure that people can be rest assured that when a disaster comes into play, whatever it may be, tsunami and all those other things, to include typhoons that we are frequently having, the utilities is ready to go to provide that water initially, and then essentially the electricity. So we must, I will, our administration will accept and really appreciate the incoming backup system for CUC, which is the solar farm that's going to be built on the southern end of Saipan. They also will be providing solar capability for the airport and also for the other two islands. From what I understand, that is a way to ensure that CUC does not continue to get their engines that is 40 years old, be in a way where they're making parts right there on the plant because they can't get parts from overseas to ensure that the engines are ready to go, especially when there's a storm. So we will do that. But more importantly, my administration, my running mate and I are always thinking about practical solutions because right now, the thing as mentioned earlier a while back, is not there. So we got to make practical solutions. As far as simple as the mayor going around with the municipality picking up green waste, right? People invest on a shredder so that green waste that comes in there brings back an alternative type of or a byproduct of that green waste for utilization for the people, and all the other ways that we could do to ensure that they're not just taking the green waste, throwing it in, because it just costs so much money and we don't have that much money. But of course, you know, you wonder where the money, millions of dollars that come into play this year, for instance, from Bobby. I was wishing that the legislature would have been sitting down thinking of ways to ensure that every time that cash register is under contract, they have a way to capture some of that for
Your
regular.
time is up. Shut it.
The order for that is Mr. Torres, Mr. Camacho, then Mr. Atasio. 1 minute.
So when you talk about recovery, here's what we did also, because I didn't have enough time. But look at Dina. During my time when everybody got a share. Today, you go up there, you line, you call the office, you take off, and then you get denied. I have provided DUA, disaster unemployment assistance. And one thing I'm very proud of this is that during YouTube, we included we had to make a case to include it in the recovery. And guess what? FEMA did that because we had to make a case. Probate, a lot of our locals here have issues in probate. We worked on it, we had a case with FEMA, and FEMA added that towards the payment of building the permit so that our people can build their own house. That's how you take care of your people.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho.
Viva TJ.
Yeah, so when there's a priority for making sure that we provide hardening of infrastructure, whatever, we have to have a plan. We have to make sure we don't just, throw money at it and then see if that's the solution.
Would
Because that's
that
been the
plan, if you
problem.
apply
We
that
need
to
make sure that we
PSS,
protect and
PSS
sustain
will be
those
one
investments, right?
running
So
good department if you apply that to your PSS, because that's where you
and the timeline for the measurable goals is what people
see.
equipment, whether it's recovery or not, is being done in the most proper fashion, right? So we are selling to the community that we will have structure in this government because when we're in office.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho.
Thank you,
Santa,
Mr. Camacho.
Your 1 minute begins.
Morris spoke about the CDO loan. The CDO loan was a work between the legislature of the Sinai and Congressman Kilili up in Washington. Governor Torres at the time did not make that initial contact with Congressman Kilili. He chose to just stay with $5 million. We worked with that office, passed a joint resolution in order for us to be able to access that $88 million. As for rainy day funds, we are trying to get a rainy day fund moving. Unfortunately, we're killing fires made by the previous administration. That's why we don't have a rainy day fund. We're making sure that we pay obligations that were owed to our people, to vendors. We want to talk about Pacific mini games. There's still vendors owed in the millions of dollars for the Pacific mini games. So we're trying to find those monies to pay obligations that the government had signed back then. In regards to millions of FEMA, sorry, thank you.
There's no sorry in this.
We'll now move on to question number 3. The speaking order is Mr. Torres, followed by Mr. Camacho, and then Mr. Asa for the direct response. The third question is something you've already mentioned. Residents have long voiced their concerns over utility costs. How will your administration improve utility infrastructure and lower
Solar. Solar.
Torres, you have 2 minutes.
Write it down on the paper.
Your 2 minutes.
Write it down on the paper. Write it down on the paper.
$8 million from ARPA funds to buy a new generator for CUC. $8 million. That will reduce the cost of every single resident here. I don't know where what happened to that funds. My administration will put new power plant in every island, work in bringing in alternative energy so that Rhode and Kenya, and I think this is the best time for them to be off the grid. It's important and to know that throughout my administration, we have given CUC millions of dollars, not just to help subsidize our community, but to help also address the stipulation order that's been in the court. At the end of the day, it is important that we utilize the federal programs to Department of Energy, DOI, to bring in a new power plant. And that's the biggest part here, is once we do a new power plant, then we can see the economy grow.
Thank you, Mr. Torres. We'll now move on to Mr. Camacho.
Yeah, we're so reliant on fossil fuel, right? And the engines, yeah, sure, that would be nice. We have the money for it, but because we don't have the money for it, but we then have business or contracts working with CUC and CPA to ensure that we have the solar farm. I am all about that. The alternative energy. What we need to do is diversify the portfolio of energy production here in the city. How at the consumer level?
Honestly, seriously, now in talking, the person and the qualified person and the person that knows everything is Ralph the longer response. But I will comment after the end of the debate. So let's just wait for the closing of the debate, where I will do, and I will call personally Governor Torres to congratulate him.
When they have a backup plan themselves individually, let's see what that contract means, because if you go further, it's to include perhaps sustainable islands, all the very little project that it requires, but all the be the model.
I recommend to go to the Baroque on YouTube and watch the debate with me. The debate, likewise in YouTube and in Facebook. Apart
available in the CNMI so that their cost of utilities can go down and they
Tarabia
will
lang.
need to
Put the nexus of the, not just for power plant, but as well as water system. One thing that I want to give out a shout out to Kim, she has a bill for CIP on her public hearing. I recommended that if we can ask that we take the next 10 years and leverage that, that would be $150 million. If we can leverage for the next 20 years, that's $300 million. This is the time to leverage because we do have a Republican president, a hardworking delegate,
That's
and
correct.
we're trying to get the Republican
Yes. Viva Ralph!
team that
Viva Johnson! Viva Republican Party! We need a Republican!
Thank you, Mr. Soares. We'll now move on to question number 4. If your administration were to send it to the legislature today, what would it look like? What would your administration cut? What would it keep? And why? Mr. Concho, we begin with you.
Yeah, so the administration that's coming on board after this election is going to be in the second quarter of this fiscal year. Well, we understand from today's briefing, yesterday, whatever that was, when the executive branch was briefing 2 scenarios, right? Really big moment. 200, 400 furloughs, we're cut hours down to 40 hours. That is a terrible situation. And I'm not sure what PSS will be getting after that as well. But everyone is going to be there. So then in January, second quarter, we're going to have to, starting today, start to make those decisions. But the key things that we're going to be prioritizing obviously is the education, the essential services of public safety. We got to fix our healthcare, make sure that our people don't go in a
I'm getting a very slow connection. The cinema, our majority red nation, debatory. So John wasn't
races, go out there and interview folks to be a lieutenant governor and my running mate. And I picked and I selected the best part that knows financing. And we both will be charged to dig into the financing of our government to make sure that we
the best in financing.
And then our people know what we're going to be doing and where costs are going to be coming from. But I just answered that question by saying we're going to make sure people are still safe, people are being provided the health care, and then
who are going to be cut? You did not answer the
the
question, Mr. Macho.
Right sizing and making sure. But the biggest long-term thing that we're going to be doing
question hadisyen na toto pero ufay. Nigi question ka. Bulan storanya lo tiao opi question kwanto na toto pero uleo. Akeke avoy sa tempo ni eleksyon eh.
Mr. Asa, would you like me to repeat the question? If your administration were to send it today, what would it look like?
Kwanto na toto pero na pantay chocho. That is a tough question.
Everybody's seen FY27. There's 2 scenarios, 64, 40, 400 employees being ripped or furloughed, 200 employees being ripped or furloughed. It's challenging, but we need to make, we don't have to, we will make.
Si Kamatsu failed the answer, Contorno si Atau failed to answer the question. Contorno toto po fan mafaya.
But we make sure that we provide to our community. That's first and foremost. We want to start from us. So there's a living example that if we cut, we show the other members of the various government agencies.
Kaya tungusti mo question.
But even with that though, we need to work with our private sector so that we can help transition government employees into the private sector.
That's not the answer.
Specific positions that need in the private sector, such as accounting, HVAC. If we can train our government employees, pay them through a Pell Grant, get their education done, and transition them into the private sector, is the private sector ready to carry them? Because they say that the government's loaded, the transition into the private sector.
It's about the money. It's about the money. Who are these people you're going to fire?
And NMC they're supposed to be used to be able to provide the services that we need. We need to make sure that the private sector is also very honest.
Wrong answer.
That they need these employees and the rates that they employees. That's how we're gonna transition some workers into the private sector.
This is
On the
not the type
budget
of
side,
candidate we need for
will make
the
cuts
governor
and it's
type.
gonna start from
He
us,
doesn't
but
know
we
what
will
he's
also
talking
leverage
about.
other
He
external
doesn't know what he's
monies
saying. The
to make
question
sure we
is,
cover and we take care of the most
pareho
important
na si
issues,
Camacho.
healthcare, education, public safety, our retirees. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Torres.
As a governor, I will to make sure we're not in this situation. This is May, the question is, what would I do? I would keep, and this is where the priorities come in. Everything is a priority, but what is your priority? I would take PSS budget, put it aside. That's non-negotiable. Our kids, we all stand up here, our kids is our future. For every dollar you take out, you're taking away our own future. Take that PSS money, put money for the retirees. Then we deal with whatever we have to deal with. And that is why, on my administration with Ben, we will not put our people in this situation. And I'm saying this because we know how to bring the economy. We wouldn't be talking about cuts. Since this administration, their slogan was building trust. And now, every year, we're seeing
Okay, another be post-history unda tota para be sangan ni ko apilong idonya question si Tomas. I-question gwini mamamasin si Tomas. Para kandidato da una AOP. Da AOP i-question si former Governor Torres. You know, papasin i-soportasyon medyo. Por favor, kung i-debate, then atan adi kwalifikaw ni por atendi ikugo ki question ni ma sasanganudun gas Tomas. I-question mamamasin si Tomas data office si Komatsu tia office si Ataw. Si Kamatsu aboboy di question. Di malago puro sangan nati puro faya. Dangging wida sa kaso i-goberno ni Marianas parewa dan si Ataw. Lo si Governor Torres answer a question da na manungo eji pago ini mangagi bantistika gi PIC afai preciso da na ni poro matuka ni poro makonsidera ni poro ufmafaya lo sumen mago sa anahalo ni palaban economy debi na gofen petanti na umaligo empeño ni poro uhalo ni bisita ni bumimesisita itanota puede con todo in Northern Island ni pati fan makad. Debi no halon ni salapi, siga umalun galon i goberno da para fan na para ta fanapi niti para ta fan na fan mungi kata da para ta nai aji da tauto po fan mafaya. Posida sa sangan na si Governor Torres na government na amalegla ekonomiya ni para uhalon do bula sa lapi da para bunga no bahat sinatsaga gi bandan ninala itanota gi pada bandan tamano ni para tapegan ng kamasa si Ataw dan si Kamatsu ti kwalifikaw sina dos auto para ugoti posisyon i goberno sa timatu pamasasangan makikesuwazi i-question administration i governo i job administration hajistisyan auto for fire para sol for fire plaka opi question si governor lenya importante na umabaha sa lapi kada IBSS control i retirement basa sobla bode na ufan mangun juroso para makakasuwazi ni para ufan mafaya tauta da importante na umalegda ekonomiya. Si dos kandidato si Kamatsu da si Atoti mensiona por para da ta continue Stefano
airline cut, budgets cut. Now we're talking furlough.
Zena ufafay sinamju por favor. Viva Republican! Botay Republican sa si Governor Torres. Ajudulay malapit ako. Malago manaligo sa lapi ni poro unafan machochoit todo do.
In my administration, we had the most
Biba Ralph, Biba Jones, Biba Republican Party sa hawa,
I
kalifikaw.
applaud you for saying it.
Ha? Mamakilos tidos,
I've done that. What we're seeing today,
manman si Kamatsu dan siya nininipid
15,000 jobs
Torres,
in
si Governor Torres.
15,000 jobs. So that is my priority. Take care of our
Manampo,
and the retirees.
na, Biba Ralph,
That's all your.
Biba Ralph, dan Biba Jones, dan Biba Sikari para i-islat Northern Ireland.
That was the first time Governor Torres have ever felt a shortage in financial resources here in the city. The first thing that he was cutting across the board, and he did. He cut 13% across the board, including the public school system, including public safety. He said reserve money aside for PSS in 2020, May of 2020, PSS. When he said that, I'm sorry, retirees. So the monies that he's talking about are pandemic monies that came externally. It wasn't monies that were billed administration or collected through taxes and investments here in the cinema. It was monies that came from the work of Kilili Sablon.
Biba si Kelly para i-mayor ni Northern Ireland.
You're third in the order. Yes.
Give me some seconds back there.
Sure. Yes. Okay. We can begin your 1 minute now.
So I would like to see the report that Mr. Atto was saying about 2.2, because for my record, I have never shortchanged. And in terms of what he's talking about the retirees, yeah, there was. Again, simple. The economy. Continue to build the economy. In 2018, 17, we were at GDP, 28% growth. The highest budget is there's no external money. In terms of building a relationship, there's no relationship with the president. Every assistance came, everything that we asked came, because we built that relationship. And he's now the president working.
The president is Republican.
Mr. Camacho, you have the last.
Yeah, I love the fact that you guys are jabbing at each other back and forth here, but I'm gonna respectfully jab at both of you. Both of you have been here. The question is, what the heck happened? Why are we in this situation? Come on. We need to make sure that we provide vision or have vision so that we know and understand where the market is going. If the market is gonna fall for tourism, we need to anticipate that and make sure. We've had millions of dollars infused into the system. The pandemic, right after the pandemic, we had this thing called BOOF. Why isn't that now making our small businesses fun? That's the trust that the community has lost in our government. Because one of the core priorities is protecting working families during fiscal uncertainty. So we'll make sure that if it comes down to furloughing, we're going to make sure that there's preparation for those families to have work.
Yeah.
And also expanding the
Fuck
workforce
the
training and
friendship.
technical education, make sure, as you mentioned, right, training them so that they can fit into
Fuck the
private
friendship.
industry, jobs.
Kada uno kita labon.
Camacho.
Tayo
We'll go to our last question before the break. We are nearly halfway there, gentlemen. Thank you for hanging in there. Bear with me for this question, okay? Our last question before our break. The final order in the Imperial Pacific International's bankruptcy lists about 40.9 million in combined claims for the Commonwealth Treasury and Commonwealth Casino Commission. But there is no guarantee the CNMI will recover the full amount. So the question is, as governor, what specific steps would you take to maximize the Commonwealth's recovery, and what would you do differently to prevent another major investor
Tourism.
from the NMI with millions of dollars
Tourist.
in unpaid government claims? And so just so you know the order for this, it's Mr. Attal, Mr. Torres, Mr.
Thank you, Tomas.
2 minuto atau 2 minuto.
In licensing fees by themselves, they owe the central government almost $100 million. To the Casino Commission, they owe over $25 million. So $49 million, that's a small chunk of money. But we don't even know if the government's gonna get a piece of that money yet because there's other debtors that they owe. For our administration, administration, we will make sure that investors are vetted properly into the cinema. There's new investors that are very interested right now, and they say this process is kind of taking a long time. Well, we learn from our mistakes because we want to make sure that they get vetted properly, because big investors will ask for other types of incentives like tax credits, QCs. So we need to vet big investors, but we should concentrate on small investment into the cinema, because the backbone of the cinema are the small businesses. Those businesses that are not gonna leave a big footprint in our islands. Little footprint, maximum economic activity. Those are the types of businesses we need to invite. But, like I said to the question, they need to be vetted properly. And CEDA is our arm in government investment. We also have the Department of Commerce as our arm in government investment into the cinema, so that we make sure that we vet every single business or investor that wants to do business here in the cinema, so we can grow together and help each other be more successful in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
I totally agree. It is important to vet our businesses, right? And of course, the bigger the investment, the more vetting it comes with. Unfortunate with IPI, with pandemic, $15 million a year. You know, they tried to get an amendment because during those times, no tourists that came in. Unfortunately, those bills was never amended, and they continued to charge the company $15 million, and eventually it collapsed. And with that, we know that the China, I'm saying this for a reason. The China government changed their law in 2020 that a China company cannot operate or own any casino outside China. Now, as a government, we have to also look at the opportunity to change regulations to assist the company. And this is not just IPI. This is any company that comes in. If they are struggling and they continue to put investment in, the legislature and the government should be able to sit down and work things out. If an amendment public detail needs to change, then we should change that. If it's to the legislature, then we should be able to change that. But what I'm saying is that any company that comes in, they should also feel comfortable that if a force majeure comes in, that we are there to help them and guide them move forward. But yes, at the end of the day, we want their success is our success. Everybody on this island benefited one way or the other, whether it's CUC, retirees, we all benefit. Left, we all also suffered, just like any other big company.
Archer, your 2 minutes.
Yeah, so speaking of IPI, the first thing I want to do is track down and have a sit down with the new owner of IPI and figure out what the heck is going on with it and what their vision is, because we have to solve that problem. That's a huge problem for our tourism industry. That's the thing. So we need to bring in specialized, I said it in my remarks earlier, we need to bring in specialized industries that would work here in the cinema and not just the fly night or day type of industry, because it brings in a lot of money. That's what I meant by artificial economic growth, that we all think, oh, just throw money at it because it will solve everybody's problem. Yes, for a minute it will, but look at where we are today. It solved our problems a few years ago with retirement or that, but look at where we are today. If we are not a strong government and we don't have strong leadership to be at that table with those folks that come in, that we're going to go track down to make sure that there's specialized industries specifically for the cinema so they can infuse cash. That's what we need to do, and that's what I will do, and that's what my running mate Edith will be doing. She and I will be making sure that vending and all those things, right? And then when we have those, CEDA says this is the right one, we got the right package, all hands on deck, everybody in all the agencies within the government would be making sure that industry is successful, because their success is also everything we back to the benefits of the people. If people don't, so they can support the industry and make sure that it's successful. That's been the problem with this casino one, right? And I'm not for or against it right now, but I saw what happened, right? I mean, it was just brought in.
Thank you very much. Sikamatsu still has the floor.
Which people did not vote. So we need to make sure we're cautious when it comes to that. We got to be anticipating the future and making sure that we have the right foresight. That's what true leadership is. That's what strong leadership needs to be in the administration, because the lack of that is what's causing us to be in this situation and having this type of conversation.
Thank you. The order for this rebuttal will be Mr. Torres, Mr. Camacho, and then Mr. Atta. You have 1 minute, Mr. Torres, if you begins now.
So I think we all agree that the casino industry is a success if it works well. And I'm glad that Commissioner VJ said that we got to learn from it. Because I believe that House is also making an amendment. No? So it is, right? So we learned from it. And this is where we have to all sit together again and look at this industry, because it affected all of us. But beyond just the casino, you have other industries. Now we have EV, Zoe Motors. It will be no different type. When you put big investment in there, what do they leave for the Commonwealth? What is good for the NMD? What is good for the retirees? What is good for the children? And what would it hurt on the
Sorry,
environment?
buddy, I'm having
So,
some
yes,
kind of
this
a
is not
slow
just for the
connection
industry,
from
this is for every
iKenny.
big industry
Have you
that
know
come
about
in.
the
We do
Corona
have to vet
Wi-Fi?
to make sure that they're
But I will go
implementing
live
safe.
again before the end of the day,
and
and come and join me later on tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad the Zoe Motors is coming and the pharmaceutical industry is coming, so that we can at least have both, right? And those, I believe, are strong enough to make sure that it's not just this artificial fly-by-night type of industry. We're gonna make sure that it's successful. We also gotta make sure, moving on from there, that the infrastructure that will provide those specialized industries that we invite here is set and ready to go. Otherwise, we're just bringing in for the sake of bringing in industries, and that's not fair for the people. We gotta make sure that the people then, first of all, feel safe and can afford the cost of living that they're enduring each and every day. Once that is said, we can continue to buy more industry. And I've heard the argument of, no, we buy more industry so that the people can be. If we fail again, just like we failed with the last couple of times with some of these industries that we brought in, we're gonna be talking about the same thing over and over, and I'm just sick and tired of talking about the same thing and trying to explain to people what happened in the past, because we're no longer looking at the past, we're looking forward, and we're making sure that we do the right thing from here on out.
Mr. Atta, you can close out the first half.
Thank you. One of the greatest industries available out there that's not gonna hit anything here in the Cedar Mine is the educational industry and educational tourism. There's about tourism around the world. And in this part of the world itself is about 40% of that $500 billion. And if we just take 0.25% of that, that's approximately $1 billion that can be directly infused into the Commonwealth. NMC is growing. Let's help NMC. Let's help the public school system with CW1 visa students, so we get the educational system here, promote the cinema as a destination for educational tourism. And that's the money that's going to continue to grow the cinema moving forward to the next generation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll be back right after this break. You're watching
Well,
our-
thank you, Thomas, for your live debate. We'll be right back after this commercial. And we're back. Morales first with the debate of the gubernatorial. Viva Kelly! Viva Northern Ranas Island! At napapakito doon iban mambubuta isla ta bota si Kelly. Tatapon manona papa isla.
Welcome back. We're continuing our gubernatorial debate. Our next question, the speaker order is Mr. Torres, Camacho, and then Atta. Here's the question. The CNMI continues to face challenges with access to affordable and quality health care, and costs, limited specialist services, and healthcare workers shortage. If elected, what specific steps will you take to improve healthcare? And how will you fund it? We'll start with Mr. Torres. Your 2 minutes begins now.
I think one of the seeing our community is hurtful to see illness. All of us here on the island have had family forth. And so it is important to make the investments here. I do know that working with Medicaid is one. Working with our Congresswoman to change the Medicaid fund on the percentage, the matching fund for Medicaid. Ultimately, we also want to make an investment on getting some private partnership. I believe this is the time to bring in private partnership with a hospital, whether it's equipment or simply bringing in, source out some of the services, and provide better programs as well for our community. $1 million for substance abuse program. That helps because of people that are in the substance abuse program don't need to go to the hospital, but yet they do need different care. Thank you.
Mr. Camacho?
Mr. Camacho?
Yeah, I'm glad we're talking about healthcare. When I got my high blood pressure medicine, so my high blood pressure is lower now.
Yes, high blood si Dr. Camacho.
But what we need to do is work on our referral system so that we are not referring too much out. And then do what we can to work with CHCC and the board there to figure out what really can we do here. And I agree that Medicaid, especially the public-private partnership, make sure we bring in some folks to make sure there is partnership between the private and the hospital so that we can then thrive. We need to limit the amount of referral out of the island or the islands, because it's just costing us too much. But one thing we can do in order to match or in order to convince the folks that we're going to be bringing in for public and private partnership is that we can also invest some of this dollars that we're getting from the trustee, the NPLT, that we talked about the other night, where we could leverage off of for healthcare benefits so that people can get the tangible benefits back to them out of that trust, right? Not to detriment what's going to be the future inheritance, but to at least use some of that, because these moments in time are where we find ourselves that we're not going to accept lacking healthcare for our people. We've got to make sure we do something, and we're going to go in again and scrape the barrel as much as we can with the financing and all that, but we just also got to work at the hospital to figure out what's going on when it comes to the business model and see where the government can also help leverage off its power to give
Good morning, Mr. Dave.
Pretty good job in providing professional care.
Today's topic is the Sinamay Maranas Gubernatorial debate held by Pasmangolonia. It's on YouTube.
Our community to be checked at their homes with these mobile clinics, and not on Saipa, on Rhoda and Kenyon. And Dr. Rita Saipa on Rhoda and Kenyon. And Dr. Rita De La Cruz study for 2016 states that only 1 out of 10 of us in the cinema actually go to the hospital and get checked, or to a private clinic and get checked. The rest of us are waiting to recover. So if we invest into educating our people through public health and getting the mobile clinics into the villages, we will save money, and we won't have to expend invested money into our cancer center here in the cinema. That's why our people can get treated here at home rather than outside of the cinema.
Thank you. The rebuttal response order is Camacho, Atal, then Torres. So Mr. Camacho, your 1 minute begins.
Yeah, so you wonder what grants are afforded to CHCC. We're going to look into that, but there's a thing that we've been talking about out in the community about the food items that are causing these diseases, right? We talk about the high blood pressure and all those things that would detriment the health of our citizens. We just got to make sure, not just educate them, but do something about it. We can control some of that. I lived in Philadelphia at one point in time, and the city there decided to tax soda because it was just sugary items, and they wanted to make sure they reduce so that they can reduce the level of obesity. Those things are ideas that we could tap into, but the people need to be informed, and the people need to make sure that they're bought into this type of concept before we get into that type of stuff. But those are just simple ideas that we could lay out to the people and say, bad food items, and we're gonna reduce it by this much, and we're gonna, perhaps tax it so that we can then bring back that money to fund CACC for the other health items.
Mr. Atal, your 1 minute.
And Tomas, we're not waiting for the administration. Edwin and I have started our jobs already.
Really? You just started your job?
We're not labeling that.
You just started your job?
Now obligates all business sellers to
Now?
make sure there's a label and they're behind the counters. We've done our work on that part at zero cost to the central government. And all the data statistics is all word commerce, and that's going to be very supportive in the future for the people of Sinamay when it comes to grant. The next step is to support the Youth Congress Bill 20-2, which is to remove vapes from counters and advertisement. 800 vapes were confiscated in the public school system just this past
Good morning,
year.
Dave. It's been a long time, no chat.
We want to get those vapes off the kids' hands. It's
Nagkasabi ka zuwa debate,
My dad's
gi YouTube,
five-time
gas
cancer
Tomas
survivor
Maglonia.
fighting with 6 kids. It's healthy.
Mr. Torres, your 1 minute.
Health is a holistic approach. We have people on dialysis, where there's different illness. One thing that I wanted to mention is that in my administration, we brought in K9 unit to help with our community. At the time, it was the highest cost for CMI, whatever they sell per gram or whatever it is. Before I left, it was like around $800. What I'm hearing today is like $50. And I'm not sure what that record is, but I do know that when we invest on this kind of program, it'll prevent, again, better health for everyone. I built in the substance abuse program. One of the things that I've been a strong supporter is the new beds. The beds that we had maybe 5-6 years ago were 86 beds. I helped fund that bed. Prior to that, it was 86 beds originally.
Good morning, brother.
So yes,
Good
we have a
morning.
holistic approach for this.
Pada Pagu, Wednesday,
Thank you, gentlemen.
August
I have a question.
19.
CNMI students have different paths after high school, including college, university, skilled trades, or the armed forces. What will your administration do to strengthen local schools, NMC, and expand opportunities for careers in the trades? And how will you ensure those programs lead to livable wages in the CNMI? We'll start with Mr. Camacho, Acha, then Torres. Mr. Camacho.
Yeah, we'll definitely help NMC. I've worked at the university and I know how to get the regions working with the central government in a way of trying to get and understand what really is their priority. But, the thing with watching the kids go from that pipeline from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade and then beyond to NMC. But NMC is not the only other focus areas that we need to be concerned about. We need to also think up the NM Tech so that the trades in the institute can also bring back the workforce that we need. After 2030, we're going to be in trouble here because we don't have the workforce that we're going to need if we're going to be building the economy back up on its feet. So we got to make sure that both institutions, the managers and the actual tradesmen and women, would be afforded the opportunity by the central government, making sure that there's funding for it. Right? So there's a lot of opportunities there that we can work with when it comes to the Northern Marianas College, but we could also bring in, and I know the college is working on these things, where they could also bring in other regional colleges to cross-level some of the courses that they're working on, so the course load, so that it also kind of reduces their operational costs. And then making sure that the college is aligned and NM Tech are aligned to the workforce needs. So this systems thinking of making sure the labor department and the two institutes, along with PSS, are aligned to that, so that the economy, businesses, we're making sure that the small businesses are thriving. They know that that workforce is coming back. So there's that partnership. We did it at PSS we started it already with the pathways. Every high school will have an academy and pathways underneath those academy aligned with the economic needs. So we have that model set for that. Now we're just going to work with NMC and NM Tech and make sure that we also get those students to them.
Viva Torres, Viva Jones, dan Viva si Kelly ni malalago para i Northern Ireland. The Republican Party. Piot presidente si kandidato pa senador si Senator Bini Sablam. Tabotan do continue manajuda yalo ni publiko.
Also, NMTech will be providing for the workforce, but we need to work with the
Tati
private
Chagogo Makpu
businesses
i debate.
to have a PPP.
Good morning, Lina Camacho.
We need to fulfill into the private sector, such as accountants, HVAC, engineers, if that's the case, and work with NMC. When I first moved back to the Sinamai, I worked for one of the biggest private companies. And one of the biggest projects that I worked for when I was with that company was given $50,000 to work with NMC. I dedicated $10,000 to 5 students, a contractual agreement. When you get that scholarship paid for your school, for education at NMC, that you will provide 3 years of service to the business that I'm working for. The scholarship office during our day actually had that. So we need to push our local businesses and NMC to work together and try to keep the money in the mind so we can thrive and grow together. We can build that by giving multiple options to NMC, but again, we need to infuse and promote NMC to become larger so that NMC can be one of the proudest things that our kids here in the Sinamai or any graduate from the Sinamai that takes any job here
Or put more money in the Sinamai scholarship economy, improve the economy.
Thank you, Mr. Ato. Mr. Torres, your 2 minutes.
Everybody wants to support NMC and everybody's supporting NMC. I'm not a product of NMC, but I'm definitely, as was given, Dr. G's back there at one point said that I've supported NMC more than any other administration. We secured $100 million Department of Education for the new building. I'm going to stick a little bit longer. $13 million for NMC increase, $10 million for
Viva all the way, Republican
facility. My administration also helped secure the $10 million, and we actually gave the property in Kobler. And for a scholarship, I think this is a time that
scholarship.
we should sit down and look at our scholarship program. And it's about time for us to allocate our scholarship.
The former governor, man, is very smart.
The scholarship program finish out their phase. Should start putting
Viva Ralph! Viva Jones!
to support
Dan Viva para todo yung manlalago para ipakita pa na kandidato ganda bandera i Republican Party. Dinatan siya si former governor is Sinamai scholarship.
if we don't have an economy. This is the reason why I'm working with Department of War, new industries, car motors.
Upapansin todo iman manekungo gida Toto America. Toto America kichagogo sa pimaktoy gobyerno para pambinisita. Upapansin ni suportasyon medyo por favor. Kaputan alo gobernota si Ralph Dilong Guerrero Torres. Dan si Jones para uhalon doon na punatan. Ifina problema ni Malada sa stige na mega jo i-debate that dinantity maulig ininipid niya former governor ipagbandat edukasyon sa si Camacho dan si Ataw otra sinanganganya dati man mensyona puro manahahalon mas salapi galon isinamay scholarship dan isinya umalon ni salapi dangin babay economy
Just graduated this year, and they asked, why should I stay here and go to NMC? There's better opportunities for me outside of the Sinamai. We told them that NMC is right here at home. It's going to cost you a minimal amount of money to go to school. Your parents are going to be with you. Life is going to be so much easier.
Katungo liya
You
pada
have a
siya
choice.
para ko
When I was a child,
Ato doesn't probably know what's coming out of his mouth.
I have to live with those choices that my parents made, and I would never change it for the world because I learned a lot. But those, like essentially, the end result is to be here at NMC, invest in NMC because it's gonna be good for our economy.
Mr. Torres, your 1 minute begins now.
So, sir, no, BJ and I went to school in Boise, so we were shipped out too. But we're back. And so, wait. Again, we're gonna go back there and provide opportunities, work with our Department of War, look at the industries. And this is the time where we sit down with Department of War and demand an explanation what kind of infrastructure will be being built in the next 5 to 10 years, and have them be part of this state, make investment in NMTI, NMC for that matter, and not just here in CNMI or Saipan, even as well as Roland Kenya. And this is the important part is having this federal relationship, and we have built in the past, build them in and look at where do we go from here for the next 10 years. But we need to build the economy. Economy.
Dinantici si former governor Torres put todo tapos na yun. Put alpha put todo put debate ni Mahos Gas Tomas Manglonia san esta finena na question esta gitaro na question esta para otibo na question. Purasti put bandan salapi tisinya sisa ufan maalegla kada un tauto questionnya jangin ti mahal salapi isinamay general fund. Dapat tamano ni porohalo ni salapi debi na ugaha daw kolontina laika gi bandan economy dan government na malegla isinamay tourism. Sa enawa ni mahalun isalapi ginin itauto sa nijong ni manahalung gini man bisisitahit esta islan luta tini dan Saipan jadi na siga ni para bikwentus po di Northern Island dan biba si Kelly Tenorio daw pafasin isopotasyon nijo na tanahalun si Kelly sa Guiza Mas Lamalik iplanunya para iman mamala na tempo. Parafay ni si Starling ni Malagonya si Valentino. Tanafona nada afa planunya si Kelly ni por develop all in Northern Ireland. Dan nigi talo if you know former governor si Torres na debi nada no nakalamtin economy ni por bola salapi galo ni banat edukasyon gi NMC ni NMT teg papa gi Zalorbes dan isa i tautauta ni man eskwela gi Sanizong tisinya mumalik esti finansasun i publiko jangin tada salapi no pues dinadan siya si former governor Torres por todo i finansasanya i question gini ni Maranas pues por bandan hospital bandan investment pues bala dat la nakakpos está kobekemak po i-debate.
We're a field model for micro credentials. The workforce is needed out in the industries, right, in the community where the businesses are supposed to be thriving, and they need that workforce. So what we do is we develop a model to where
Si Camacho, kumekwentos.
and all the other institutions produce the competencies that are required in the community, in the workforce, then they're incentivized. That institution gets a little bit more of that money because they provide it. So what happens is when the business A is
money.
the workforce that is being produced with that competency from the institutes are there, that flywheel of that business needs to somehow have something of a return back to the institute that produced that. See it happen in a lot of the different states when I was studying higher
To make it
education and how
short,
can
we
then
need to make the
incentivize
economy
micro
good.
credentials. Businesses don't have time for degrees.
A lot of businesses are closing because the economy is no good, no tourists.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho.
We will now move on to our 8th question.
8th question.
And the speaking order will be Mr. Atal, Torres, and then Camacho. Committee of military buildup in the NMI.
Military
What will
buildup.
be your administration stance on the buildup in the NMI? Mr. Atal.
The question is military buildup.
The build-up's happening already.
Okay.
And they've
Kaya tawag.
They've done a lot of work in the Sinamay. We all know when the covenant agreement was signed that they leased Forest of Kenya for 99 years. They leased
Okay,
Napa
talking about the
Harbor for
covenant, he's
6
teaching
years.
us like a 9-year-old student in the elementary school.
American Memorial Park is today. So the Department of War, in their position, is for national security. But we should leverage that to our opportunities. Because the Department of War is leaving a big footprint, not just on Kenya, it'll be leaving big footprints on the other islands. We need to make sure the Department of War's contractors, first and foremost, pay their taxes here in the Sinamay. There's a $150 million of project in the beginning of the Department's work on project on Kenya, and only $98,000 was connected to the Sinamay. That's very unfortunate. They should pay to play here. They should invest into our healthcare, build our hospitals, build our ports, so that we can have bigger ports, better ports. If they say that this is the place where we're closest to mainland China, and this is their closest to the fence in Asia, then they should treat us the same. Under our administration, equal opportunity is gonna be the standard. We're not gonna beg for it. We're not gonna ask for it. We're gonna demand equal opportunity for our people here in the Sinamay. So there's economic activities growing here in the Sinamay. And if they can't push back, then the best thing what we should do moving forward is to negotiate taking over immigration under 902, because there's a lot of contracts going on out there and they're not servicing our people here. The money is not being spent here in the Sinamay.
Mr. Torres, you know, I remember the first meeting I had with the 4-star general, and we started talking, and I looked at him and I said, Tomas, you know, you guys military come and go every 2 years, CJMT, you guys rotate every 2 years, but we're gonna die here. And this is what I told the individual. I said, this is what we have today. This is it. And the minute I give you this, I give you this, I give you this, and so you have everything. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hold this as tight as I can, because I'm not letting go, because I know what my people needs, what my people have. So to us, that's what I've done. They wanted to do the divert airfield in Saipan. I said no.
Governor Torres now is
We
talking.
already have 2/3 in Tinian. That's the reason why they have the divert airfield in Tinian. We demanded that they clean Chigat Beach, and I hope I'm saying it right. And they did. They need to own up on making sure they're part, as being part of the community. I would demand for them to make investments. And I will, because I've seen the relationship that I've built throughout. One thing that I'm very proud of is protecting our environment. On the first proposal of CJMT, there was 14 missions.
Siyempre, we need to protect
So
our
902 talk, the
beaches.
successful 902 talk, they dropped it down from 14 missions down to 4. And we stopped Bargain from bombing. And every island.
Hallelujah.
So
Thank you, Governor Torres, for stopping the
I
bombing
made
in
sure
Palm.
in the 902 talk, we had a voice and one mission, that we are your partners, but we are not gonna be partners if the environment is part of this deal. We protected the environment. Yes, we need to continue this.
Viva Ralph! Viva Jones! Dan viva ipatid ng Republican Party sa siya mas kabalis dan dinansi para i-islas Sinamay Marianas. Viva Ralph! Viva Jones! Viva si Kelly! Dan viva para todo man malalago pa di Bandan Senador. Viva si Vinny Sablan! Dan si Marco Peter! Dan todo pamalan ng mga Republican Party.
Trying to influence the Egyptian government and making sure that they take that $1.5 billion that we give them for their military to buy military, foreign military sells equipment or U.S. military. There's something that I could use at the table, because we gotta be strong and firm with government, especially when it comes to the military. Because any dollar that is being done here for business they need to understand has to go back to the economy because we have to make sure.
And why did you stop working? Why did you abandon our children at the PSS? If you are very good in the military, then you should apply that to the PSS.
Right, so that they can also park here in case
Right?
the not functional.
Bukan makahit si Torres and si Jones. Viva Red! All the way!
But we can also leverage off of the
Di malago, lamunga gwi, bufan layoff si Governor Torres and nigi mas. Ara itaw-taw ta poro o chowino, edi na manopi dalenya poro alegla ekonomiya, lamunga na para o panafaya itaw-taw.
Issues across the borders, they're right
Lo si
here.
komatsu te bago ay tino na kuston parewa dyan siya taw.
On making sure that the parts and the supplies are there for me when I'm commanding in the middle of a battle, right, in combat. So, yes, that's going to get concerning for our people. Why should we be the stoppage location for military? There's all kinds of opportunities for us to educate the folks that it's not going to be as dangerous as they've seen. As we continue to see these warehouses tumbling down to the ground without nothing to gain from.
During the peace agreement for I remember Congresswoman Kim at the time she was a CPA. They negotiated a $21 million list, maybe 24. It's been a while, but we made sure that they end up paying what our value is here. One thing that I pushed hard is to have local businesses be part. If we can provide services, then the military has to prioritize our local businesses. And that's something that I did for us, but that's something that I want to continue pushing, is our local partners providing services to our military.
Thank you very much, Mr. Torres. Mr. Camacho, your rebuttal.
Yeah, so we own the order of 3 miles, right? We learned this from the debate past weekend. So I want to see, and I don't see the ships anymore, but those pre-positioned stockade ships that were parked out here for ever since I was a little kid, are they paying any taxes? Are they paying anything? Are they paying any fees for just parking out there, right? Those are some of the things that we're going to need to make sure we have things with the U.S. government and especially the Department of War. Gone are going to be the days where we just sit around and we accept what they tell us. The days are coming when we tell them what we them, and we're going to demand it, and we're going to work with them and negotiate so that it's a win-win for both sides. We are as important to them as they are to us for strategic purposes, but we also need their help to make sure that our economy thrives. Been hearing it each and every day. Everybody says the same thing. But where have we been in sitting at the table to make sure that they're understanding exactly what message is being brought out there for them to hear?
Thank you. Mr. Adler,
I said earlier, Tomas, equality is the standard. Who brings a truck driver over from Virginia to get paid $70,000 on Tuesday? Be fair enough. There's gotta be somebody in Kenya that can able to service that job. There's 2,000 people in Kenya. Kenyans known for military personnel. How many of them have retired that have those CDL license? But they're not giving them the opportunity. We need to set the standard as being fair. We don't beg for it. We should demand that the standards are fair for our people here in the city of Miami. Businesses and individuals, make sure that the investment of the military on Kenya funnels down to the people of Kenya and the villages, not just the stores or the restaurants. And Governor Torres knows that. He consults down on Kenya for military projects. So he knows the history.
No questions left.
Don't go anywhere. Okay, so the next speaking order is Mr. Torres, Mr. Camacho, and Mr. Atal. This question is about the workforce. What need relates to our CW program and local hiring needs? Mr. Torres, your 2 minutes begins now.
Oh, I'm the one? We go, I think this is the same question that basically the same in the last couple.
CW1 now
workforce
question.
development. We need an economy. We need an economy, and I'm going to keep emphasizing that. We need to look at what works here in the city of Miami. Our tourist industry has worked in the past. We still have our buildings here. We still have our folks that wants to work. Those we need to invest in bringing in our airlines. When we bring in our airlines, like I have in the past, this is what creates workforce development. Then you have your services. Now you have more vehicles to be repaired. You have restaurants being open. You have higher funding for all the education system.
Good morning,
You
Marian
have fishermen
Castro.
now have more money to buy vehicles, fish more. Our farmers, they get to farm more. They get to have the opportunity to make that investment because they see that their product will be bought or their services will be accepted and needed. Yes, I remember during my time though, we put $12.8 million for workforce development and training. That was part of the $200 permit fee. We did PSS, we did NMC, NMTI, and even the scholarship program. Actually, I believe we changed the law for that to allow this money to be used for pay for scholarship, those folks that are not able to pay for their tuition. So we invest into our community, but we need to build our economy. We have the Workforce Stabilization Act that Congresswoman is working on. That will definitely help us continue to bring back our economy. Thank you.
Remember when I said earlier, I alluded to the fact that when I was searching for a running mate, Lieutenant Governor, I knew workforce was going to be a critical issue that we're going to have to attack and get after, right? So we need businesses to make sure they're seeing the workforce that's going to be gone because they're going to need them to build the things that we need to build if we're going to be building it more than where we are, from where we are today. So I sought out someone who knows financing, but someone who's also been the Secretary of Labor who knows workforce, right? And it really meshes with the experience that I have when it comes to what we're doing at PSS.
What the hell? Edith knows about economy.
Mindset about career in the future and bring jobs that they want to be.
Governor Torres is talking about bringing in airlines so
it's
the
setting a pathway in that pipeline. It's going from the kindergarten, the elementary level to the middle school. So by the time they get into high school, those are set underneath those academies and go straight into where the college is ready for them to be received in, or NMTech is ready for them to receive it, or straight into the workforce where the businesses are ready for them. She has that capacity to understand data and also
Dr. Camacho is talking about Edith Guerrero.
What really is the gap going to be when it comes to CW and how tangible it should be so that we can measure success along the way. We want to make sure that we do this right, and I'm glad that question about workforce is up and running because, or is up and to be asked because this is the reason why we're going on this sinking ship with the tools. We have the right tools. She has the right tools for making sure that we fix this workforce issue that we have here in the city of Mine. But more importantly, so the businesses can have hope that they're going to be thriving because they're going to be getting the workforce. Because we're not just going to let the inventory of workers out of off island without filling that gap. We're going to make sure we do all those things.
How are you going to do that?
That's what we're working on each and every day when we sit down and we talk about these things. So thank you for that question.
Mr. Atom, your 2 minutes.
Thank you, Tomas. Learn and earn.
Approximately
$7,000
earn and earn.
It's going to be, we're still going to be under the administration's responsibility to invest into workforce. here.
Fasachoe on Mapasi.
We will make sure that the job fairs are available throughout the year so that we can service these people, these needs in the private sector with our local employees. When I mean local, I mean people that call us my home, not CW workers. But in addition to that, we will take the CW monies that used to be able to be utilized for scholarship programs and revert it back to its intended purpose, which is to service the workforce in the CNMI, get our people prepared, get their certificates, their licenses so that they can service the needs of the private sector. In addition to that, we will work with the private sector, long-term government employees into their businesses so that they can take jobs that are being vacated with the CW program because of the cashback program. So we got to remember that the CNMI government, CNMI employers are being charged additional funds by the CW program and we don't even benefit from them. So we, under our administration, Edmund and I, will fight to make sure that those charges are not included to our employers here in the CNMI moving forward, because we need to keep those monies here so the businesses can employ our local people and make sure that we keep our population here in the CNMI, grow the population here in the CNMI so our economy can grow. When a thriving economy is seen from the outside world, that's when investments come in. And when investments come in here, that's when tourists come in here, because the investment will invite the airlines, not the tourists inviting the airlines.
Thank you.
So when it comes to workforce, I also think about where the VIA program is, right? And it's working right now. It's a beautiful model to ensure that they're providing businesses with a lot of these workforce needs as well. So we got to make sure that we understand that and then elevate that even further. That needs to happen. But when it comes to, again, incentivize, I go back to what is the need of the businesses? Where are we at when it comes to that? Where are we at producing that, right? And then match it along with the pathways that we have, along with the credentials that are being administered over and conferred over at MMC or MTech to make sure that the competencies are there for it. Gone are going to be those days where we just let students go through school, let them go through college, and then let them figure out how to land those jobs. We can be more meticulous, and we can have those agreements with those businesses. I know that at PSS we have agreements at the business site and then also within PSS to make sure that those interns are taken care of.
Thank you so much, Mr. Asper. You're over there.
Thank you, Thomas. So I met this young man over the weekend at a little gathering. He was a breadwinner in high school for his parents as they were both sick. Even through high school, he went to MTech and worked through all the programs there that best fits his skills. He was paid through the scholarship of Shefa, through the CW program. This individual lost his parents. He's now taking care of his sick brother, his disabled brother. And what he said was that MTech provided me skills. Triple J provided me the opportunity. And he's pushing on his friends and his family to take advantage of educational institutions here in the CNMI. From the breadwinner in high school to the career tech boy today, he is providing to his family, his community, and is a promoter of our people.
And 1 minute?
It's you.
Congressman, they said grow the population. I have 6 kids, so I'm helping that build the population. Anyways, I remember going to NMC one day, the invitation and the nursing program. There were 17 of them, and they were talking about, I asked them what the challenges was, and they said, well, the NCLEX cost, I'm not sure how much at the time. And I asked, I think it was there, and I said, Matt, can our office pay for this? And they said yes, so I offered to pay for the 17 tests. And that's just one way, and I just wanted to say that nursing program here in Saipan is definitely a program that we should work on. One thing that I would like to propose is big businesses should sit down with NMTI and NMC, like pharmaceutical, or Zao Motors, sit down and lay out that plan and give that opportunity so that the workforce can be part of it.
All right, gentlemen, question 10 up now. And the speaking order for that will be Mr. Camacho, Pacquiao, and Torres. Illegal drugs continue to be a concern for many residents. What do you believe to be the root causes of the drug use in the CNMI, and how would you reduce both drug use and drug-related crime in your administration? So, Mr. Camacho, we'll start with you for 2 minutes.
Yeah, so there was one. I was at the courthouse judicial system observing the moot court that was going on. And of course, all those folks that be lawyers, the students there competing, they're all in suit and ties. And as I was walking out the door, I looked over and I saw the timeline, the periodic sort of timetable for the judicial system in the CNMI. And then I asked myself the question, do I go there and study the history behind our judicial system or continue outdoor because I have another meeting that's about to take place. I need to get ready for it. This was when I was Commissioner of Education. And something told me, no, go back to the history area there and kind of, study it. So I went there, and as I was doing that, came across this a youth, right, an individual, and he was in a suit and tie. He was wearing a suit, he was wearing a tie, and I said, hey, so are you excited about the competition? I said, no, I am not here for it. And I said, what are you here for? He said, the judge requires me to be here each and every day. Each and every day I have to be here to report to her that I am doing damage. And then I realized that he had been in drugs, he had been in prison, and all those. He has been to Hope Center. We're going to fix that issue. We're going to get after drugs, and we're going to get after the dealers and the sources where they're coming from, because that really is not a good thing, and it's a terrible thing that's happening. And I've spoken to various officials in the community about this drug issue, because the kids are starting to get their hands on them. Right? We're not finding them in the public school, but when they're not in school, they're actually there with their hands on them, and they're the ones who are being
Hey, good morning, good morning.
Burglarized houses and all that.
Sa may ikanit live recorded gubernatorial debate gininas Tomas Baglonia.
Mr. Atal, you have 2 minutes.
So during our house to house, Edmund and I visited a mom, a mother of 2 kids with disabilities. The first thing that came out of her mouth was, DJ, Edmund, cochino este lugar. The place is dirty. She didn't mean it being dirty as the place being just ransacked out. It's mean dirty that there's drug runners going across the street, crossing their land, even with cameras. What we need to do is take care of those individuals or those entities that protect communities. The public safety systems, the capture on the border. We need to make sure that they're protected. No cutting in their budget. Make sure that they cross-train each other from customs to DPS to ports, ADPs, and any enforcement entities, so that they can be visible in the villages. We need to keep our villages safe. We need our law enforcement to be visible in the villages to deter these drug pushers. We invest in them. We make sure they're safe, so that they protect our communities. Maximum punishment for those that bring drugs in and those that push drugs in the community. But let's not also forget that those that want to be taken care of, they want to change their lives. We got to make sure that we do maximum help to make sure that they change their lives, because they want to do it themselves. For those that don't want to, maximize to whatever we want to do that are applicable by law. But to those that want to change, let's help them change. We are a community of helping each other. So let's take care of those individuals. Thank you.
Mr. Torres?
I think this drug problem is very sentimental to all of us. I hope I'm wrong. I think every one of us have families, friends, are close and fond of the drug problem. And that's just a reality. I know that it's sentimental because it's happening, and it's part that you can't control when it comes to the family. But one thing I do know, there's 3 parts that's very critical. To put the investment on the airport, put investment on seaport, and put investment on the air. Those are the 3 ways that the drugs come in. During my administration, I am 100% certain, and this is one thing that I'm proud of. I've supported law enforcement because I know that the more we spend resources on this border, the less those drugs will go out to the community, the less opportunity for our kids to be hooked on these drugs. So yes, I put my resources on the borders, and I've given the first responder, the law enforcement agencies, the tools and the resources. I don't want to applaud them. I want to give them unity. But they do need help. During my administration, we signed the drug court. During my administration, our administration, we provided the SALT program. which is what Dr. Lawrence is talking about, the HOPE program. Guys, this is our family. We provided the HOPE program for a reason, that everybody deserves a second chance. And that's what our administration would not just give you, but give you the tools, the resources, and understand what you go through.
Thank you for the rebuttal order. It will be Mr. Attal, Torres, and then Camacho. So Mr. Attal, your 1 minute to present.
What I mean by crossover of the law enforcement is we want to make sure that there's manpower in the streets available for our people to feel safe at home. And sports police, we got the Department of Public Safety, we got Customs, we got ABTC. Those are 24-hour services. We take advantage of all their skills and their abilities and their knowings in regards to their respective communities and the distribution of drugs in our community. Customs is our #1 priority in regards to our borders. In order to stop the drugs coming into our villages, we need to make sure we protect our borders. We invest the money that Customs earns through the fees that they collect in our ports and our airport. They should keep that money. We make sure that the administration never got that money when they diverted.
Thank you. Mr. Torres, your 1 minute.
You're fast to most. Again, I was gonna go back to the drug issue. There's a threat to all of us. I think you can see that we want to put all our resources to where it should go. During our administration, I know that we put $100,000 for a K9 unit. We sent 3 or 4 folks to the Department of Customs to Florida to get trained and brought those dogs over, K9, and they were actually very successful. They were going to schools, they were doing ops and different events. But having K9 around our community really helps. And I hope this administration push on that. I'm not sure where the status is, but I am certain that under Ben and I's leadership, we will bring that back in and put more investment into that and make sure that our community knows that we're here, that we're going to provide safety, but at the same time, when you do fall in the crack, that you are given an opportunity to be rehabilitated.
All right. Mr. Camacho, your 1 minute.
Yeah, to fight against what I mentioned earlier with this drug issue, we're gonna work with the mayor's office. They've been getting the DEA or the
Okay.
to come here.
Good morning, Richard Cabrera. Ako continuous din nagwa
But also
tropical depression.
and where they're coming from. Get after that.
Mamaya.
Also helping the folks that are
Magagwini po sa ginumapos ti pero da bigas kareta lo. Gasi karapat nito.
It's a foundation that
Anyway, esta por favor i debate. Gastubas Ban Glonia, esta ni matutunis din na debate. Esta por favor. Si Kamatsu sa si Ataw. The answer to the question. The Parago, tatapas kwalifikaw winning para namala na eleksyon, para tanohin na votasyon, daw papasin todo i-publiko, para imbaba i-dinason mito, tatanohi i-votasyon, watu gi-kandidato as si former Governor Ralph, dyan si Jones, dyan i-delegate para i-Amerikano si Kimberly, dan i-Senador Gasvini, dan todo i-kandidato ni Republican Party, si Northern Ireland, i-kandidato ni Mayor, kasi pimalon sa talos para ati suunsod pawunahani para takwan mangan ko por ipagaman in Northern Ireland sabi sa may sinibotasyon para tanahi i-kandidato in Northern Ireland. So dispensado sa pagdabay ikato dibe sa malakuto na pag-ikumo pamanmasang dibe i-debate gano'n ni Toto Tres si former Governor Torres sa pura pambandang economy ihapon na pinanan na question debe no etalo economy sa tisinya maalegla iti na question sa gintada economy ni Poro Uhalon isapi in general fund.
Not a part of the traveling forces that we have.
Sa pwede mo giman mamalasan na debate di mananamko ni tibat kongrendi masinumani English para godang kulon disappointment isti na debate sa ti fair isti para imanam kota biba manamko da para tamas otra dangin para isti debate na halun i question da unsamani kandidato kosinya ons paklaji imanamko ni manmanega sa dania na klasin programa da istanya tutuni debate si Mamfino Chamorro ni para umanapan memprendi i manamku sa na manamku matuga mapipindis lugadi yatu pero di palaban transparency di sa magtado study
save money in our marketing strategies.
dan kung makamade doke itaw-taw ta ni manudo
A reflection of our grandparents, their parents, their great grandparents, and that's who we are to see them. We want to make sure.
Debi no kwa gini por interpret di sign language ni por taw-taw sa manmani mo manata ni pamagonta din natakanawi sa gibalik na manera Republican Party Banido Suzuki Paka nama malo Pag na pinino mo nagi programa
And I hope that's on the way to
si
be
Governor
built.
Torres no
The other one is the canoe house. I remember one time I was sitting with the late Limolopai, and I told him, I said, Uncle Lino, I want to get this canoe house. And he looked at me and he said, Governor, I hear every governor said that. Please prove me wrong. And so I did. I helped fund the canoe house. It was under the governor's budget. We put it in, we started that whole project. And I'm glad that it's where it's at today. And I remember again what he said. In order for you to know your future, you need to know your past. And investing in what we have is our culture, but also protecting what we have. And we see it for our Ladisco here. And so it's important. My administration, I've always supported it, but more so personally. It's dear to me. It's dear to me that we continue to practice our culture, not just the historical site. Because historical site means something, and that's speaking to our kids. Takentusi pamamata, fanagi tamano kumalasa, fanagi tamano mamunuri, tamano paron pogi, tamano. Those are the things that you teach your kids who we are. But it's not just the preservation of agricultural properties; it's the language that comes with it. So yes, under Belline, we will continue to put investment and create programs. The foundation has 8 books under local Chamorro language and followers.
Thank you, Mr. Torres. Mr.
We
Camacho.
will work with the agency called Mariana's Visitors Authority. Right? So when you invite not tourists, we want to kind of change the mindset and invite folks from outside our islands to be visitors, right? Here and experience and have that
Fernandez
educational
si Dr. Camacho
opportunity to
mulai
understand
Finonya.
just wonderful people. And we want to kind of show that off to the rest of the world that there are great wonderful people here.
Sinya
And
on
that's
translator no
something
Fino Chamorro, Dr.
for them
Camacho.
to kind of come and experience as well. We want to make sure that they come here as visitors so we can change the model of how we treat what used to be, or what is tourist, right? So is it tourism or is it a visitor type of effort that we're going to do? So changing that and making sure that we do that. Now, when it comes to the
Man
historic
maliliwala
sites and all that,
stasti.
we have a lot of work to do when it comes to that. So we're going to have to invest in those areas and make sure that, again, the value that it presents itself to, making sure
Aman
that
lis na toto Amerika le.
people need to be involved in it because the
Aman ni
greatest
sumaga
gift
Amerika
ever
da
by
gofna penitin na malefan nilang ipafekto lang
We
wanya.
had this discussion at last week's debate about how much of a value this could be. And these lands that we
Very
own,
sad.
these lands that our people own, they must be again allowed for others to experience. And
Maga na malik femino English si Camacho logof na masi sa
We'll now
tiatungo
go into our
femino
final rebuttal
Chamorro.
for this question. We'll start with Mr. Torres, then Mr. Camacho, then Mr. Atang.
minute? Yes. FBA is our heart, right, for our tourism. I remember the administration, we focused a lot on local artists. And for several years, actually, we ordered a lot of ligatur, beads,
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, di hanolay jadi bibirado ini at sa paunani. Estatungan na SC3 Dubai gini nas tubas manglona kada mas maulig dan kabalis dan perfecto na ninepigi putor todo ni question ni tapo ni manahin si Tomas na former governor Torres de Leon Guerrero, si Ralph de Leon Guerrero Torres dan si Benjamin todo ipati dan Republican Party, si DJ, si Torres, dan si Jones, Mas Malik, Mas Dinanci, dan Mas Malik para itanota ni para nahin ni suportasyon do papasin ni suportasyon mitu dan tu na aso hati por nine ni mamala na eleksyon na konsida mo na ipatida ni Republican Party da pueda todo manolod membro ni partida ni Republican do Malik mona para itanota galo ni Maranas. Viva Republican Party! Viva TJ, viva Torres, viva Jones, dan tiga si Bibi Sablan, dan Pure si Northern Ireland si Kelly, viva Kelly, dan papaisin todo iman mambobota kita isla, por favor, na isuportasyon dito kanto ki kandidato ni Republican Party, iman lalo pagi para i-mayon i Northern Ireland, dan pihalun, dapat mengentus por isti i-unidades na kinako, dan tatuka po di Northern Ireland. Ada sa Leon dan ada sa kwamang lumahan na bigas kertao dan akin gas ikaratan miso dan todo apa ini si sadat miso di para na ready dan gisakaon manita na asuwachit na ay na pinadesisti ityphoon. Okay, see you later, peace out everybody.
So one of the things